This is one of the biggest issues with Gran Turismo 7. I know it puts off so many of you from playing the game. I'm talking, obviously, as you're going to see here to Super GT, about penalties. The penalty system in Gran Turismo 7 gets so much hate. But in this video, I think I have a solution. And by the way, in this video, I'm playing you some of the most insane examples of penalties I've seen while I've been playing Gran Turismo 7. If you're someone who can look at every example of the penalties in this video and you're like, yep, I know why that was a penalty, put a sunglasses emoji in chat so we know that you're a penalties master. That's only if you can know every single one that I'm showing you. But track limit penalties get so much hate, and I get so many comments from you saying, oh, the track limits are really unfair, or this was a glitch, I got given a track limit penalty here, definitely shouldn't have been. I want to be very specific about what I believe about track limits in Gran Turismo 7. So I don't believe the Gran Turismo 7 penalty system is cheating anyone. I don't believe it's, if you're inside track limits, it's giving you a penalty even though you shouldn't have got one. I do think what it's doing is, if you're one single pixel outside of the track limits, like you can see here at Spa around the bus stop, if you're one pixel outside of track limits, I think it's giving you that penalty. And if you're one pixel inside, I don't think it's giving that penalty. Now, I have a solution here that I think completely solves it, but we have to talk about where the track limits are drawn first, and this is where it gets really weird. You can see here the track limit there at the Red Bull Ring at turn 1. I don't believe, well, it's definitely not the white line, because all four wheels can go off the white line. I don't even believe it's the curb. I think all four wheels can go off the curb there. I think the white line, I think the track limit penalty line there is actually the yellow sausage curb. But then you go to Deep Forest Raceway here, or you go to the Red Bull Ring here, and the track limit penalty at the penultimate corner, or the one before the penultimate corner, is on that curb. So it's just very, 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 very inconsistent. Look, there's a few ways you can draw track limits, and I'm not sure which one is the fairest, but I know you'll have your own opinion. You can either have the white line, so anytime you go over the white line, that is a track limit penalty. Some people would really prefer that. Some people might think that's too restrictive and it kind of artificially restricts the flow of the track. So you've got Max Power going wide there. Don't know if he's going to get a penalty for that. We'll see in a second. The other thing you can do is say, when there's a curb, the track limit should be on the curb, because obviously the curbs are there to be used. If there was no curb, maybe there would be grass. The grass is designed to be used, not part of the racetrack. But curbs are inherently part of the racetrack. That's why they're there. You can see the curbs here. So one argument is say, well, if there's a curb, that becomes a track limit. And another argument is saying, if there's runoff past the curb, like you see there's AstroTurf here and Geoblock, if they've done something like that, this one is a really contentious one. If you just go over that white line, you get a penalty. By the way, let me know if you want to see track limit penalty, track limit guides for Gran Turismo 7. I can make that. But one argument is, if there's runoff, you should incorporate the runoff as well, because it's deliberately runoff. Now, I don't really know what I prefer there. When I go karting in the National Championship, which I've raced with Super GT and Ruswood and all these people, they often literally put cones on the exit, and if you hit the cone, you get a penalty. Slam dunk, that's it. It's very simple. But I think it does depend track by track. Now, because track limits can vary track by track to kind of have a different flow, I think this is a solution. And I really want to know whether you agree with me. I'm giving so many suggestions to Gran Turismo 7 to improving the game. By the way, if you like these videos, please, please, please hit the like button right now. Make sure you subscribe. Share the video if you want to share this message. I think they should do this. I think there should be a toggle button when you're racing, so you can toggle a button now, and anything that's outside of track limits gets sort of shaded red, and anything inside track limits remains with the usual colour. So if you're going into turn 1 at the Red Bull Ring, in time trial, you can go around with that button toggled, and you can see where the track limits are for that track. We know that they have coded the track limits, so somewhere in the code they have said, right, this is the actual location where if you go all four wheels over, you will get a penalty. But we don't know that, and it causes so much frustration. And unless you go around these tracks again and again and again and again and sort of brute force your learnings about track limits, you're really, really, really going to struggle. So it's not very fair, I think, to the more casual players, to the players that, you know, we're playing in the evenings a couple of times a week. We haven't been able to go around and explore. So I think that toggle system. Another way you could do it is in the spectate mode, where you can walk. You could do it then, you could toggle it so it's not intensive during a race. I don't think it's an exploit. I know Gran Turismo are really funny about things being potentially exploited. It's why I don't have a mirror in this view, because, oh, it could be an exploit having a mirror, even though you have it in bumper cam. It might be why PSVR 2 is so hobbled with the HUD, because otherwise it would be too unfair. But I don't think it's unfair to just be transparent about track limits. It's such a big complaint of the game, the penalty system. People think that it's unfair, and that's not a good perception to have of the game. So he got Matt's power going a little bit wide there. He looks a little bit unhappy. We can see why he got the track limit penalty, but if you're not smashing, this is top split of Daily Race C, if you're not smashing it and understanding where track limits are, you're just going to come unstuck. I feel very, very, very passionate about this. I was also at the Nürburgring in Daily Race B the week before. That's when I was racing Super GT and people like that. And honestly, in fact, yeah, you can see in this video, this was really, really, really high stakes. And again, these sort of races can be decided by a track limit where you don't even know where the track limit is. And I just really think that's quite an easy fix. That corner there at the Nürburgring, you can see here, oh, I went for a big old send there and I had to back out. So I actually got a track limit where I should have been given probably a 2-second penalty for that absolutely ludicrous send. But where we got the track limit, I'm not sure. Did we get the track limit on the way in there? Did we get track limit by going on the geo block? I actually don't know. I don't know, and it's kind of crazy that I don't even know. You'll hear a lot of streamers complaining on the stream, myself included, people are like, oh, I can't believe that's a penalty. But like I said, it must be a pixel somewhere. Now, do you have any suggestions about how to fix track limit penalties? Now, by the way, track limit penalties have changed quite a lot in Gran Turismo 7. And in Gran Turismo Sport, you used to accumulate penalties, and there was no penalty gate. So when I was racing Roswell and Super GT and GT Sport, and we would rack up penalties over our races, because we raced in leagues together, we would basically accumulate all the penalties and take them at the line at the end of the race. It was just utterly ridiculous. At the end of the race here, like at the finish line, you'd have everyone braking, trying to lose their penalties. Now, the penalty gates are a lot better, but again, they're unfair. I don't want to get too much into penalty gates, but let's be honest. The penalty gate at Spa is a brutal one. The penalty gate at the Red Bull Ring is barely a penalty. If you get a half-second penalty at Spa, you're going to lose over a second. And if you get a half-second penalty at the Red Bull Ring, I don't even think you probably lose half a second because of the momentum. We've seen people cheat. Oh, I don't want to go too strong. We've seen people exploiting the penalty system when it comes to track limits as well by pausing it. I've made a video on that. I've made my views clear on that, so I don't necessarily want to open that up. But I do think penalties are such an important part of Gran Turismo 7, and they can do so much better on the track limits. Do you want to see me cover contact penalties as well? Let me know. We should have definitely got a contact penalty in this race, but somehow we survived. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comment. Let me know if you were able to spot every single penalty in the video, and I'll see you next time.